Earlier this month I streamed Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem on my Twitch channel, specifically Book 1, and since this covers characters I've already made a top 10 list about, I wanted to poll my audience as well as the subreddit for Fire Emblem as to who their favorite characters were, and I got a lot of great results from that. But instead of structuring this video like a top 5 or a top 10 video of standard caliber, I wanted to structure this into two segments, one on general results that kind of give me a nice overview of everything, and then one on what were the by far most popular characters, so let's get right into it.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right.
There were a few things to take away from the general poll, although there also are some results I'm going to have to remove from the poll. One person decided to answer Rocher for all 5 spots, and I realize it's kind of my fault they were blank text boxes, but I'll just count that as one Rocher. To explain how the scoring works, if you put a character as your absolute favorite, that's worth 5 points, second favorite's worth 4, third favorite's worth 3, so on and so forth. There were a few main takeaways from the general results of the poll. First off, pre-promotes are very, very mixed. Lorenz only got 1 vote, being in 5th place for somebody. Bo only got 1 vote, being in 4th place, same with Wendell. Jagan only got a 3rd place throughout the whole list. I'm willing to bet part of the reason is that these characters don't have a lot of potential to grow, so when they're introduced in the same chapter as a character like Cain or Abel, then it seems like they're just kind of a worse alternative. Well, I say that, but then again, the horse units are surprisingly mixed. You may remember my list where I put Abel at number 2, being one of my favorite characters in the game, and Cain was also very high. Not to mention throughout all of the streams, Rocher was super beloved by the fans, but surprisingly, Hardin, all of his men, including Rocher, including the bow units, Mathis, Cain, and Abel, all placed around the same general area. Not that popular. My guess is because there's so many different horse units in this game, people pick a favorite and just kind of move on from there without giving the others a lot of thought. And hey, I'm pretty guilty of that. I didn't put any of Hardin or his men on the top 10 list despite putting both Cain and Abel there. And I didn't even give Mathis a chance during the streams, having killed him by accident before he was even recruited. It's safe to say that with Shadow Dragon and Blade of Light especially, the biggest problems come from an oversaturation of characters. Fire Emblem games have done very well with a smaller group, focusing kind of specific characters in specific areas. You can see this really well in Fire Emblem 2. Although I think Mystery of the Emblem made small strides in that direction by removing some unnecessary characters. Which, funny enough, 2 of those characters ended up on this list anyway. Again, blank text boxes, I didn't have a lot of supervision. One person entered Darrow, so they were very aware that it wasn't supposed to be there. And then another person put Roger. I don't get that one. They didn't explain it in any way. Maybe they just misunderstood the poll. I have to wonder if perhaps Roger was added in New Mystery of the Emblem. I've never played that entry before, and maybe they were just misunderstanding whether I was talking about that game on the DS or this one on the Super Famicom. I think it's clear to see that there's still a bit of oversaturation in particular categories, although perhaps some categories could use the oversaturation, and I think nowhere is that clear than with the top 6 characters.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right.
The characters Marth, Sheeta, Katria, Paula, Minerva, and Lind all appear at least 6 times throughout the results, when before that, the most common character to appear appears 3 times, being Rocher. Again, Rocher is definitely due to some stream favoritism we had going on, but interestingly enough, Zane also had 3 results. I never really used that character much. Perhaps that's because of Book 2, where he's given a bit more characterization without getting into spoilers. I really should specify I'm talking about Book 1 specifically. But yeah, these 6 characters were by far the most popular, and I guess it shouldn't be too surprising. 4 of these 6 made my top 10 as well. Hell, the number 1 most popular by far, Marth, was my number 1 as well. And to be honest, there's still a part of me that's wondering, is it affected by other media? Is it affected by his appearance in Smash? Is it affected by their characterization in the DS remakes? I don't honestly know, but you cannot deny the consistency of 4 of the game's 5 flying units ending up in the top 5. Seriously, Sheeta, Katria, Paula, and Minerva all did very well on the list. I mean, perhaps it's a testament to how the level design is handled in Mystery of the Emblem Book 1. I mentioned this in my own top 10 video, and I guess I could ring it true again here, where there's a lot of levels filled to the brim with water, or mountains, or rough terrain where flying units have a huge advantage. I feel like Fire Emblem 2, as well as eventually Fire Emblem 4, will get to have much more open and broad maps where horse units can really strive more. What's probably most surprising about this is the one who didn't get included in the list, S. She only got 1 second place, giving her a total of 4 points, which doesn't even compare to the others. And while I had some fun with S on stream, I can honestly understand it. She's introduced into the game so late that there's hardly any time to really invest into her. To the point where if you've been investing in any other Pegasus Knight, S isn't really going to be worth your time. One last fun thing to note about the list before I end the video is that Kamu actually appeared despite not being a playable character, and despite me laying that out, but I guess I can't be hypocritical, I also put him on my list. But there's one thing that I noticed about the list that didn't ring true with mine, and that's George. George was my number 3 out of my top 10, which is a huge deal considering Shadow Dragon has even more characters than Mystery of the Emblem, and considering he's a pre-promote, which I'm typically not a huge fan of. But George has always been so good to me. He's been so strong, he comes with silver bows, he's able to use the Partia very quickly. I don't know, seeing George completely absent from the list really made me want to make a video about why George is my favorite bow user in the game. In the end, I think this list was a fascinating dive into what makes these Fire Emblem characters good, especially in this game in particular, although things will change in Book 2. What characters introduced where, what level they'll be at, what items they have, everything's going to change from there. And hypothetically, I could do another top 10 list of my favorite characters there, but instead, I wanted to cover the new characters that are introduced, because there are a lot of new characters introduced in Book 2. So, come next year, I'll be doing an entire Let's Play of Book 2, and I'll be doing my top 5 favorite of the new characters once that series is over. So I hope you look forward to that. Thanks so much to everybody who submitted answers for this poll. I had a lot of fun with it. And stay tuned because tomorrow is going to be the best of video. I hope you're looking forward to that. So until next time.